Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave, and I just got something in the mail and I'm really excited about it, and I'm gonna open it up in front of you and talk about it. It's very exciting. Any regular watcher of this space knows how much I love space, hardware, engineering, exploration. I'm a space nut. And there's no shortage of space nuts in the world. We are well represented in the population. My particular pathology of space nuttery is around, well, concentrates around suits. And I have over 22 spacesuits in my collection, maybe 23 now. Fictional and non-fictional. And I'm never done with a spacesuit. I'm always modifying and refining. I bought one of Ryan Nagata's early Apollo A7L suits. When I bought it from him, it came with resin connectors and resin wrist rings and a resin neck ring. In the intervening, I think, decade that I have owned it, Ryan has gone on to make metal wrist rings and a working metal neck ring. And each time I bought one of those from him and upgraded the suit. So for me, there's always like a perfect suit out there, and I don't need to get to it today in the grand scheme of today. But I want to get there eventually. And so today, a new part showed up for one of my spacesuits. Every now and then, Global Effects, which is the LA company that has made all the spacesuits that you know about. They made them for Apollo 13. They made them for All Mankind. They made them for Ad Astra. The list is as long as the list of space. It's almost as long as the list of space movies. And the proprietor of Global Effects is Chris Gilman. I've known him for years, and I've bought a lot of stuff from him. He sells stuff on eBay under the store name Orbital Outfitters. And Chris is not just a space enthusiast. He is also an armor enthusiast as well. So like me, he likes both the ye olde metal armor, and he owns some insanely beautiful suits of it. And he also loves the spacesuits. And he put up for sale on Orbital Outfitters on eBay some wrist disconnect rings for the ACES suit. You know, you clicked on the link. The ACES, the Advanced Crew Escape System. That's what ACES stands for. And they are colloquially known as the pumpkin suits. I made one a few years ago and wore it to New York City Comic-Con, where I was found by a young woman wearing her home-built SpaceX spacesuit, which was spectacular. I got found in like 5 minutes. Here's some pictures, some backstage photos and footage. It's what's so funny. Yeah, I know. I'm still going to show it to you in a minute. What's so funny about the ACES suit is I never loved it. It was never super compelling to me, but there was a certain point at which I was like, I got to build it. It's like, it's the next one to tackle was where it was in my head. And the moment I got into the meat of tackling it, I fell head over heels in love with that suit. This is a regular thing, aesthetically. It's like you almost can't know something at that level and not love it. You certainly can. And well, your employer can help. But for me, the process of making is always a process of taking something and putting it in my head and then modifying it here. All the important modification and design happens in here. And what happens here is just the business end of this process. So for me, there's this moment. There's this moment when the object is fully in my head. The reason I paused there is because I was at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, and I was talking to an actor on a show that I love, and we were chatting about We were chatting about a character. We were chatting about working with a writer's room and having them work on your character and what it's like. And I quoted to this actor. I'm not going to name him. It's a private conversation. But I quoted to this actor a wonderful line I had read from James Spader. When James Spader was in Steven Soderbergh's first breakout film, Sex, Lies, and Videotape, it's really hard to overstate how important Sex, Lies, and Videotape was in the 80s. James Spader said to Soderbergh, this is your first movie, so you don't really know this yet, but I wanted to let you know that there's a certain point at which the character you've written for me and are directing me in will become my character and no longer your character. And I said this to this actor, and she said, yeah. She said, you feel it when it happens. And I was like, really? You feel the actor feels the turn? I was like, yeah, completely. And so we were talking about acting, that actor and I, specifically because it is a very frequently almost always a relational exercise. You are relating with someone else. And I've seen plenty of movies, one I bring up as an example, where there's like an ensemble of great actors, but if you watch closely, one of them, it's not, okay, I'm just going to point out the movie Closer, which is a Mike Nichols film starring Jude Law, Natalie Portman, Julia Roberts, and Clive Owen. I'm a huge Clive Owen fan, one of my all-time favorite actors. And walking out of Closer, my wife was like, I feel like every actor in that film did their best work opposite Clive Owen. And I quoted that to this actor, and they were like, oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, they could totally see how that works. And I was like, man, acting terrifies me. It's not, I thought I wanted to do it way back when, but having watched people do it at a high level, I recognize that I am in a different gene pool. Nonetheless, the idea of having that electricity of a great scene crackling between two actors, being one of those actors, that would be thrilling. I've also heard stories from the set of Mad Men that whenever Elizabeth Moss and John Hamm were like acting together, what happened was so awesome for everyone. Like, they would just take the scenes to different places, even than the writers expected. Anyway, it's a long story, but it's coming back to that creative moment in which you understand something in an abiding way as an artist. And I had just in my head talking about the idea that when an object enters my brain completely, I get this deep sort of well of pleasure because then I can really start to design and play and move around with it. And having just been at San Diego Comic-Con where I was talking to an actor about how solitary my exercise most often is and how relational their craft is often exercised, I realized that there are symmetries because it's all the same process. I really believe all creativity is the same conversation happening in different modalities under different conditions. Shall we get to the object? Chris Gilman at Global Effects put up for sale a Aces wrist ring. This is anodized in the right color. It has all the correct signage. Oh, yeah. There might be one pair still left up at the time of this video. They are not cheap. I spent some time thinking about spending my dough on that, but then I thought, I can't make it for this price, even though it's it's spendy, but for me, worth it. Now, what am I going to do with this? Well, I have 3 pairs of these gloves. I have 2 Aces suits. I always make 2 spacesuits whenever I make one. So I have 3 pairs of these gloves. One that's on my hero spacesuit, one that's on my secondary spacesuit, and then a 3rd pair for display. I'm going to attach this wrist ring to this. Actually, I'm going to attach the pair of wrist rings to a pair of gloves. That's today's video. Let's do it. So these operate just like the real ones, in which you raise these up, turn it away, and come back. Oh, there's a left and a right? Wait a second. Hold on just a moment. I didn't realize they were chiral, but they are. So this is the left-handed glove, and we are going to attach it into here using all 8 of these screws, just like the real darn thing. Well, first, I'm going to pull out all the screws. I'm not going to attach this all to my suit just yet today. That'll be on another video. So now this goes here. And oh, right. First up, that's the inside. I'll label it. And I want to take out, per my request, there's a little Velcro on the inside here for attaching to my resin wrist rings, but that will not do. So I'm going to pull that away. I know. There's probably a faster way to do this. Don't say seam ripper. Why not a seam ripper? Man, because I have done so much spectacular damage with seam rippers. They're deceptive. And I'm better with them now, but I still prefer an X-Acto blade for pulling up this kind of oversewing. All right, so yeah, that all looks pretty good. Now we're going to inside. Yep, that's this. The actual orientation on that phone doesn't really matter. Just pull it as far as we can and clamp it in with some of these little sewing clamps. We're going to use a bunch of them. Hey, there it is, 24 of them. Now what? Well, now we come back and we start to use a spike to add our screws. Now, if you do this right, the screw can actually come through the fabric, and the fabric actually acts as a little bit of a hold down. Spike through and screw through. Put your finger on the other side. Yeah, here we go. That's 1, that's 2. Here comes number 3. All right. Now we can pull all these off because those screws will hold it. And now we can start to attach. Now again, just like I always say, do not tighten any of the screws until all of them have been started. So I'm just getting like a thread and a half boop, 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 on each one. And 8. Okay. Want to know something super cool? If you go and look up pictures of the Spacesuit, what you'll see is that in attachment, there is this green lip on the bottom of the glove, which comes out in the attachment method and curls around this edge to exactly this degree. On the real thing, they do that. And is there any marker that Linda Guaris, my glove maker from Italy, who is the, like my glove maker, a glove maker I work with who lives in Italy named Linda Guaris, who has a wonderful Etsy store called Like Linda, made these gloves for me. She has made all of my space gloves for me, and she's a spectacular artist. And is there any better marker that she got this dimension dead nuts right and perfect than that it wraps around the correctly sized wrist ring to the exact precise same degree as the original thing. We're not quite done yet. I got to do the other glove, but dude, that is so awesome. All right, let's get the other glove. Yes, it's true. You can see some holes here that were left over because I did this once and I didn't like how it went, and then I came up with a different opinion about how to do it. I love these sewing clamps because they're like the power of small numbers kind of equation. Seven and 8. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Dude. Oh. Yeah. So pretty. I'm so happy. So smooth. And then that moves over there. And this is how the real things operate. You put them together and they don't do anything until you get them into the right position. Then they drop in and sock it in. Dude. My only issue with this is that it's too new and I want it to look a little older, so I may hit this on the buffing wheel. But, dude, the space gloves of my, well, it should go that way, right? Yeah, that way. The space glove of my dreams. Slowly and slowly, my collection gets better. By increments, by fits and starts. But every now and then, a magnificent piece comes into my collection like this one, and I can... Why does it matter that it works the way it should? It does. What is the end point of fidelity? I'm not sure. Why so much pleasure from an object that is still just a simulacrum of a truly amazing piece of engineering? Because the real space gloves, they spin like this and are airtight. And they lock like this and are airtight. And I have looked at the blueprints. I understand physically how that works. And it is, from what I understand, a pair of O-rings machined in their race so precisely that they slide against an outer surface and yet do not allow air to pass, even though they can slide. It's a level of precision that's really hard for my brain to conceive. I was once having dinner with a very renowned science fiction writer of hard science fiction, and I talked about the wrist rings, and he was like, "What the effing F?" Yeah, it's like a marvel of engineering is the real space glove disconnect. Why so much pleasure from a simulacrum? I couldn't quite tell you, except, you know, my pumpkin suit came, the measurements for my pumpkin suit came from some NASA folks at Johnson. And it's been a long time plan for me to bring my pumpkin suit to Johnson so that they can see it. And that was their one request. And I still haven't made it down there. But when I do, I know when they see this, they'll be like, "What the hell? How did you get that?" And I'll be like, "Well, Chris Gilman." They go, "Of course, yeah, that makes sense." You guys, thank you so much for joining me for this quick and dirty assemblage of some even better space gloves. Yeah, thanks for joining me. See you next time.
Thank you so much for watching that video. I've got a merch pitch for you. I'm going to keep it really quick. We have a brand new Demerit Patch 5-pack at tested-store.com. And these are the 5 you can get if you buy it right now. You've got the I hung it off level patch, the I built the chair upside down patch, the I stuck the duct tape to itself. Oh, my personal favorite. I hit my thumb with the hammer and I stuck a stapler in my thumb. Get yours now, tested-store.com.